I know you watched the game last night, Devo, and we're going to get to Alex Ovechkin, the hot start in this matchup with the Leafs and Capitals. But what was your read on last night's game? Because watching it, man, it was stinky.
Yeah, just a little bit sleepy to start the game. It's just kind of the story of the Leafs, right? Like they play amazing for a couple weeks. I think they probably played 4 or 5 really good games in a row. Then they have a dud. I think that's pretty regular for most teams. Is having a dud in there. It's just I feel like the Leafs, they go a little shorter in between them. You know what I mean? So I think that's what the frustrating part is.
And what do you think? You've been part of a team that wins the Stanley Cup. Obviously, they don't have a habit of dropping a lot of games and having those stinkers. What is it that good teams have that allows them to be more consistent that the Leafs are lacking?
It's hard. It's hard to really put your finger on it, but I know, in the room, once you win 2, 3 in a row, it's let's keep this going. Let's try and get 7, 8, 9, 10, and not letting that slip, not getting complacent when you win 4 in a row. And not saying oh, the next game doesn't really matter. We just won 4 in a row. Like you want to ring off 10 in a row, and not let that complacency kind of slip in. So obviously, I can't speak for what's going on in their room, but I don't know if anyone, after they play 3 games in a row is saying, guys, like, let's keep this going. Why would we stop? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think consistency is a big issue with this team. It was under Sheldon Keefe, and it remains that way through 17 here with Craig Berube. I know you've got a hot take or two regarding the power play, and I think the Capitals are a perfect example of a team the Maple Leafs could look at in the way they run things. But what's been your read? I mean, it's been fun to document on our end. I'll say that first and foremost, the Leafs power play, roller coaster start for them. But
Yeah.
what's been your read in general, Devo, on the Leafs power play so far this season?
I think, man, they have obviously 5 extremely skilled guys who go out at the same time. I think they just don't have, their go-to play, their go-to player. I think the puck should probably go through Mitch Marner, and they should be trying to set up Austin Matthews to shoot. I think that should be, no matter how they get there, I think that should be the 2 things that they try and focus on, right? I mean, when I watch their power play, there's a lot of moving around. I don't feel like anyone really has a spot where they're trying to be an expert at that spot. It's sometimes Marner's on the right side, he's on the left side, he's low. I look at the best power plays, now in recent past, the best players have a spot and they master that spot. Kucherov is always on the half wall. Ovi, Stamkos are always on their one-timer side no matter what. And I just don't think they have that. I think you have one of the better passes in Marner and have one of the better passes or shooters in Austin Matthews. And I think those are the 2 things you should be trying to do at all times.
Yeah, prime example of that's Alexander Ovechkin. Obviously, it's a foregone conclusion in my mind. He's going to be the #1 scorer in the history of the game. And when you watch it, it's almost ridiculous where he just stands there like his controller disconnected, and then one blink of the eye from a defender, and it's just clap bomb either side of the net every time to the tune of more than anyone who's ever done it. What did you find when he's on the peeper and say they take him away? Does that just open up other options and they can't simply take Ovi away, or you'll be giving up too much elsewhere? Did you notice that when you were playing?
Yeah. So, when I was there, the power play was Backstrom, Kuznetsov, Oshie, Carlson, Ovi. Obviously,
Decent.
everyone knows where we're trying to go. But once, they take that away, they have Oshie in the middle who, that shot from the middle, I don't think anyone in the league now still can replicate it. He had a ton of power play goals. Carlson at the top can bomb it. Kuzi, obviously, one of the better passers, and Backstrom, a legend too. So, you get on the half wall. We know we're trying to go to Ovi. Okay, they're taking that away. Now it's a 4-on-3 on the other side. And when I was there, they had play after play after play after play for every single situation. And it was annoying for me because I was killing penalties, and every single day we worked on the power play. Every single day, morning skate, whether the practice was 10 minutes or 20 minutes, every day we worked on the power play, and every day I'm killing penalties against those guys. And they had just play after play, and it opens everything up. Everyone obviously knows where you're trying to go, and then you do something else, and then Oshie's wide open, Carlson's wide open. It just makes everything way easier.
Devo, that's the amazing part about Alex Ovechkin's career. I would say 88% of the goals have been so predictable, but nobody can stop it. And he's off to an unbelievable start this year. Like there was a lot of people questioning if Ovechkin had anything left in the tank. And
Yeah.
I think he's put those rumors to bed very, very quick in this season. 32 goals away from passing Gretzky. What have you made of Ovi's start? What have you seen differently in his game? And do you think he gets there this season?
Yeah, I think to start this year, I honestly think he was just pissed off about last year. Being pissed off about 30 goals is hilarious, but I don't think he loved how the season went as a whole. I definitely don't think he loved how the playoff series went. They got smacked pretty easily. So, he doesn't need a whole lot of motivation. I think he looked at his whole season as a whole and just did not want that to happen again. So he came in full of energy. He's moving a lot better than he was at the start of last year, which is allowing him to get open. And obviously, if he gets open, it's game over, right? So he looks amazing, and I think he's definitely getting it this year. I mean, I said it before the start of the season. It's hard for me to, doubt him. I've seen him, get close to 600 goals, to get close to all these records. Anytime he gets anywhere near it, he turns it to a whole different level. So I think we'll be seeing that this year.
Well, speaking of Ovi, on your guys' cup winning season, every team has a stinker and you can come out flat. Who was the guy that would more often than not make sure that didn't happen within the locker room? Was it Ovechkin?
Yeah, I mean, we had a lot of older guys. We had, Ovi would speak up. TJ Oshie would speak up. Brooks Orpik would speak up. We had a group of, 7 or 8 older guys who, after a stinker period, it wasn't always just 1 or 2 guys. They would make sure everyone knew that wasn't acceptable. And I think that's good. It doesn't always have to be one guy just standing up and doing it every single time. It's good to have a group of guys that keep everyone in check.
Devo, obviously looking back at your cup run, people are going to remember the famous parts, obviously, of it, the goaltending change, Ovechkin winning a cup, stuff like that. But the one thing I remember, because I'm your boy, is 7 tucks for Devante Smith-Pelly, and there were big-time goals at that, dude. So my question to you, you look at this Maple Leafs roster, who can be that Devante Smith-Pelly for this team in the playoffs, in your opinion?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I think based on style and kind of how he gets hot, maybe Bobby McMahon. I feel like, last year he got extremely hot. At the start of this year, he was hot. He's a little colder now, but you could see he has that in him, right? He does go to the net. He has decent hands, has a good shot. So that would probably be the guy that you look at and say, stylistic wise, it could be him, just based on the fact that he does those things. He goes to the net, and it seems like when he gets hot, he gets really going, right? So that's all you kind of need, is to get hot for a month and a half, 2 months, and it could change your life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, shit, man. I was gonna ask you that. Like, I love the fact that it has changed your life. Like, can you just speak to that? Because we often talk about that in this market, and people joke about it. You win a cup, you'll be a legend for life. But you're actually a legend for life in Washington. You're not gonna admit this, but dude, it's true, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm extremely grateful that I was able to be a part of that team and play a good role, and it really did change my life, because I retire and looking for things to do, and Washington comes calling, and now I'm on their network in DC. So I don't know if guys really realize what kind of people my age, the legends are Darcy Tucker, Shane Corson, Matt Sun. We can name all those teams, every single player, right? And they never won. They went on a couple runs. They were good teams. So I just imagine if you win a Stanley Cup in Toronto, people will never forget your name. 200 years from now, they'll still be talking about Pontus Holmberg if they win the Stanley Cup. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Do you think if you picked up some of the rosters that the Leafs have had over plenty of time. If you pick them up and drop them in a different market, do you think it would be easy to say they'd have a lot more success than they have? Do you think that big market is what prevents them from getting over the hump, or do you just think they haven't had the personnel the last 40 years?
It's definitely just been personal. I mean, I think the market is the market. I mean, I personally would love to play in Toronto. Like, I played in Montreal. Like, I loved it. There were times where it was definitely hard, but when you were winning and doing well, like, there was nothing better than playing in Canada. So the market definitely is tough. I get it, but if you have a good team, you can definitely get through that. If you're winning, you're the best in the world. So if you just do well, everything's great in these markets, right? So I understand it's definitely tough, but you got to embrace it, and you'll be a legend if you just make one decent run.
I almost turned off this feed when you referenced Pontus Holmberg and being a legend in 200 years from now. I just somehow, some way, but I will bring up the fact that me and you always have a chuckle over that time the Leafs won a playoff series. We went out after they beat Tampa, and you were just laughing. You're like, one playoff victory. But yeah, that's how desperate we are for success in this market. Before we let you go, you can be bitterly honest, which you always are with me. I referenced bringing you in. You're a closet Leafs fan. You watch this team. You'd love to see this team hoist Lord Stanley. Don't deny that, man. What do you see in this team? Do you have a feeling with this team? Do you like them moving forward?
I mean, they're definitely different. You could definitely see, I think a couple of weeks ago it was Tampa. That game, like, they smacked them. Like, they destroyed them, but it's just not enough of that, you know what I mean? And I think they have to find the happy medium of that style of game where they're, running around, physically dominating the team, but they also have to score as well. Like, they have to find this medium where, you're being responsible, but you got to make plays and you have to score goals or you're not going to win. And that's always been their problem. It's never been defense. It's never been grit. Like, they always just can't score that next goal. So if it's not going to be one of the bigger guys, which, it should be, who's going to find that extra goal you need to extend your season and give the big guys another night to get going? I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say with this team, but they have to score more. That's all there is to it. I do like the way they're playing physically, all that stuff, but you have to score more or else it's not going to work.
Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.